Alright guys, Jamal116 here, back with another redstone creation. Well, I guess rather the redstone explanation of a redstone creation, which I've already uploaded. Anyways, this is my Quarto board, which is, I guess, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I should probably try to say what I'm trying to say the right way of saying it. This is the redstone explanation of my Quarto board. If you haven't seen the showcase version, I will link it on the screen now, as well as probably in the description. I should have uploaded that a day or two ago. If it's longer, then I just forgot to upload this video. I don't know. Let's just get right into it. So first things first, start button's pretty easy. Whenever you push the start button, there's one on both sides. It comes up this black trail here and goes into this RS NOR latch, which is basically meaning you can't start the game multiple times. And from there it goes into a pulse shortener, which starts up the turn counter, which I'm going to explain the turn counter in a little bit later, but basically what this will do is it will allow player 1 to make the first move, which is to select a piece to play, and I just realized that might have been really loud, so I'm turning my mic away a little bit. Anyways, once player 1 selects a piece to play, so I'll push the start button now, then you'll notice what happens is it'll just have player 1 select a piece to give. This "you are giving" lamp will come on, which is also hooked up right from the brown turn selector, and then these levers become hooked. This becomes hooked up to the levers down here. Now you'll notice that player 2's aren't. I'm not going to show that, but know that they aren't. Basically, I made the little quarter unit, as you can see. Basically, there's one of these units in each square. So I actually built a detached version over here, which basically this is what it looks like with all the levers pulled. Basically, it's just this little thing of setting it for 4 different trays. So like now I'll make it short, and you'll see the pistons pulled in. Now I'll make it black, and you'll see the lamps will turn off. You can see that right there. If I make it circle, then it just pulls in the corners like that. And if I make it hollow, then, well, it looks hollow. So yeah. So that's how that works. Then basically, for this part, it's basically hooked up to the levers here. So what the levers will do is the levers will, and they'll go up these pink trails, and they'll go through here, and basically what they do is they just go to the corresponding part of the piece. Where the levers also go is to this big yellow thing here, which as I built it I realized was a 4-bit decoder, and I could have made it a lot smaller if I'd realized that before I was finished building it. But it's a 4-bit decoder, and basically what it will do is it will take what you put there and it will pick one of the pieces. So you'll notice like that one is with all 4 of them off. When I flip one of the levers, then you'll notice a different torch will go on. This is this one over here because that torch was turned off and that repeater was turned on, and so therefore that torch turns on there. And the pistons that are blocking it, as you can see, are hooked up to this button here, which is the select piece button. So what that does is that comes over here and it just retracts all the pistons, which will let the signal through. Now once the signal goes through, it follows the cyan wool here. It will come around and crisscross and all this wonderful things. Basically it ends up coming out over here, goes through the pistons, and will activate an RS NOR latch. Now when this RS NOR latch is activated, it goes to 2 places. First one is it comes up here to pull back the pistons for the corresponding sides so that you can't play a piece twice. As well, it also, if we follow this line, will come over here and it goes back behind the board to pull back its corresponding piece. So for instance, I believe I have a black circle like that played, so when I select this piece to play, then you'll notice the circle up there will pull back like that. Now what's going to happen is it'll say player 2 place the piece. So you'll come over here. I just found this 4-button panel online, and basically what it's just going to do is it's going to come up here, follow these white trails, and once we follow these white trails, you'll notice that it goes through these pistons here. This is so that you can't place a piece when you're not allowed to place a piece, and it will then come up here, follow those white lines, and where it goes into is it goes here. Now, each time you place a piece, what it does is it will activate a pulse, pulling in all these pistons, and as well flipping the RS NOR latch for the main screen. Basically, the way the screen works here is I've just got a bunch of RS NOR latches for the different attributes hooked up to a Quarto unit. And so basically it pulls back all the pistons to save these, like the greens and the blues and the colors for the attributes, and it will save those, and as well it will also flip this. You'll see when this is flipped, everything goes on, so there's your square. What it will also do, this RS neural latch actually ends up coming back here, and will push a piston out over here so that you can't change that square once it's been changed. Once it's done. So that's that. I'm gonna flip it back because it's bad to have it when you're not playing like that, because it messes everything up. Now what's also hooked up is you'll see this purple wool. This purple wool is essentially the whole anti-cheat system. So you'll notice that when a piston is pushed forward like that, so when there's a piece on that square, what it will do is it also comes over here to an AND gate. So basically is when you try to place a piece where there's already a piece, it activates this yellow line, this purple line, which comes over here, and I fell. And it resets, basically it resets the board, and it goes back one space, or one turn thing, so you place a piece again. As well, there's one of those hooked up down here for the blue. You'll notice that when one of these pistons is pulled up, then that redstone dust will be open down there, so it'll do that, and that will just make it so. Anyways, that's basically where this purple wire goes. Is I'm gonna pop up right here. Here's the purple wire. This goes into the shift register, which serves as the turns. So like it's what makes it so that you can't move when you're not supposed to, or something like that. Now basically what this does is, you'll notice right now is on the second one. The second one, as you can see, comes down here to the pistons for player 2 placing his piece. That first one here, if you'll notice, well, this first one ends up going down to player 1 selecting his piece, and then it just goes in order like that. And so what happens, like when that line is off, you'll notice all these pistons down here will be extended, and therefore player 2 won't be able to place a piece. So I'll go show that right now. Then the only other part involving movement is the actual colors themselves. So there you can see player 2's piece went up there, and all those pistons over here have extended again, so no more signal can get through there. And I should explain the shift register also real quick. I found it online. It was cool. Basically, there's 3 inputs: a reset everything, move backwards, which is the purple, and then the other brown piece of wool here is move the game on. So it moves forward 1. So that's the whole movement system. From there, we have the actual colors. Now, basically what the colors do is, I believe, this gray color is, I think it's white or black. Yeah. The green color is the height, light gray is the solid or hollow, and blue is square. So what's going to end up happening is, when each piece is selected, is it's going to come through here, and it's going to, like, kind of be re-encoded into its attributes, so based on which levers are flipped. So you'll notice, like, this one over here, with all of them on, has repeaters going into all 4 of the towers, whereas, like, this one's only got 3. And basically, it just kind of re-encodes them, and they come up here to these temporary memories. The black one is over there. It's the odd one out. Anyways, from each of these memories, it comes over to this trail, and from these trails, what it will do is it will come up, activate this line of torches, and as I said, when the white button is pushed, that piston will go in, and it will be saved if that lever was pulled. If it's not pulled, then obviously nothing will save. And, what else is there about this? I feel like I'm missing some. Oh yeah, when it's reset, because the way this thing is set up is that when it becomes your turn to pick a piece and put it somewhere, it comes down here and it resets all the temporary memories that were used for the pieces. So what it does is, if you remember in the showcase video, when I put a piece in the wrong spot, it kind of flashed back and forth. So what it would have done is it would have reset all these and then been able to let you place a piece where you should not have been able to place it. The way I got around this was another set of RS NOR latches right here, which basically they save it they're like constantly saving stuff, and then as soon as someone places a piece where it's not supposed to be, they're all updated to whatever's there before they reset, and then these pistons come here after a little bit of delay and reset these RS Nors back to what they're supposed to be. So if you understood a word of that, then I'm sure you think it's genius, because it is. But if you didn't understand a word of it, which I'm pretty sure you didn't, because I am terrible at explaining things, then feel free to ask me, because I'm not sure I would have understood it either, quite frankly. Moving on, let's do the wind detection, because I think that's really all that's left. So wind detection, whenever you push down a piece, it also, as well as saving the square you put it on, comes over here and saves it in another set of memory cells. Now what it is for the wind detection is there's one 4x4 set for each characteristic. So like this one is if your piece is tall, then all these pistons will push out, and then the square you push will come in here and be saved into this RS NOR latch, and then it also does the same for color, hollow, and square circle thing. And then it's the same thing but the opposite on the bottom, so you'll notice the pistons here are retracted and the pistons down there are all extended because they're the opposite. So basically the way the wind detection works is actually really simple. You can win horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, and so here's the horizontal wind detection. It's just this line like this. It's set up so that only when all 4 of the inputs are turned off will the line go off, except you'll notice that each one works independently. So you'll notice like when I turn off this one here, you'll notice the whole line here is still on, but the individual piece of dust for that line is off back here. So it still like manages to function independently without like messing everything up. And then this next part here is the vertical wind detection. It takes that piece of dust, wherever that piece of dust right there, and it basically just goes into the vertical wind detection, and it just does a bit of messing around with that, and then it just goes into the diagonal, which is basically just this weird X-y thing here I showed you, and it's basically the same thing. So basically whenever a win happens, it activates this line or the one down there. They're the exact same thing, and they just meet up and they come up here for a win. What it will do is it will activate this torch on the left, and then depending on whose turn it is, we'll say deactivate the other torch, so it's like player 2 is the winner, or this one's like player 1 is the winner, and that's that. There's also a tie detection, which is just a binary counter, which is this thing here, and you'll notice that right now since one move has been made, the 1 in binary is showing. If I was to go make another move, then it would show 2, and basically once it reaches 16 moves, if no win happens, then it says that they're too good at this game, and it's a tie. That's pretty much it. The only thing left is the reset button, and that is, you'll notice that right now the reset button is covered. However, when a win happens, the reset button pops down. Now I'm just gonna click it for good measure. You'll notice like everything goes in, and like that pops back out over there. And basically all the reset button is it's the orange one here. It's basically just a torch tower that resets all the memory cells for the board, the pieces, as well as the wind detection. It's just the orange wool all over the place. So yeah, that's the Quarto board. That's how it works. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, because like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm terrible at explaining things, and while it makes sense in my head, it never makes sense when it comes out my mouth. So, that being said, that's all I have for you today, so Jamal116 signing off.